The nation's ERA and strikeout leader, Nigeri Kennedy, the sophomore for Stanford, has pitched them to 2 wins in 2 games. Today, she waits and watches as her teammate Reagan Krause gets the start in the Stanford Regional Final, taking on the Cal State Fullerton Titans. The Stanford Cardinal, the number 8 seed, need just 1 win to move on to Super Regionals for a 3rd straight year, and Cal State Fullerton needs 2, something they have done before in their program's history. Some low-scoring affairs for Stanford, including yesterday's win against Mississippi State in the winner's bracket. Jade Berry with an RBI double all the way to the center field wall gets them on the board. And then the freshman first baseman, Ava Gall, with a solo home run over the right field wall. 2 for the Cardinal. Nigeri Kennedy did yield 1 run on the 7th home run she's ever allowed in her 2-year career, but she also struck out 13 to give her 23 on the weekend. She's gone from 2nd in the country to 1st in strikeouts here over the course of these past 2 days. Cal State Fullerton facing an elimination game against Mississippi State. Earlier in the day, they had dispatched St. Mary's. They put up 7 runs in the 5th, 6 hits. Colby McClinton with a grand slam for the exclamation point. And Cal State Fullerton earning their way into the regional final. They have been a very feisty program, their 32nd trip to the NCAA tournament. So they get here. The winner of this regional takes on the winner of the Baton Rouge regional with LSU in the driver's seat. That winner would come here to face either Stanford or Cal State Fullerton. And we say hello on this sunny Sunday afternoon. Mike Cousins along with Kenzie Fowler, the All-American pitcher. 2 teams that have not yet seen each other. Presents a very intriguing matchup.
It does, and so there's a little bit of mystery for both of these squads. What do you look like? You've been watching each other play all weekend long, and you know, for Stanford, they're swinging the bat well, but Cal State Fullerton can pitch in the circle. They have a trio of arms that we've seen this weekend. This is one of the best pitching staffs on the West Coast, so Stanford has a challenge in front of them.
For the Card, it's a pitcher we have seen, Reagan Krause, but a short stint, 2 innings that did not go her way against St. Mary's.
I like that Coach Allister gives the senior the ball again. This is something that we're seeing right now in our sport. You cannot ride one pitcher. If you want to get all the way to Oklahoma City, you have to have ace 1, ace 2. Of course, we know who they have in the circle. Nigeri Kennedy, the best pitcher in the country, but you have to have Reagan Krause. Let's see if she can respond. And then on the other side for Cal State Fullerton, they have Haley Rainey. She's the Big West pitcher of the year, but right behind her is Stacy Chambers, her fellow junior, the lefty. We saw her yesterday. She was dominant. She will get the start today. Remember, Stanford has 8 left-handed hitters in their lineup, so I like that Coach Ford is going to the lefty.
Just the 2nd meeting in the last decade for these programs. Stanford 1 win away from a super regional trip. Road team today is the usual home team here at Smith Family Stadium, the Stanford Cardinal, and their starting lineup is brought to you by Capital One. Well, the best hitters in this lineup this weekend have been Ava Gall and Jade Berry. 4 for 6 for Gall with a home run. Berry 3 for 5 with a couple of doubles. And would you believe it? They've won 2 games, and Taryn Kern and Emily Jones at the top of the lineup have gone a combined 0 for 9. The power of great pitching, and of course, Kern has found a multitude of ways to get on base. But it's a different look today with, as you said, 8 of 9 left-handed hitters against the southpaw Stacy Chambers.
Yeah, when you have a couple of different pitchers that are locked in, as Cal State Fullerton has, it's really no question who you're going to go with. You can go to any of them. Stacy Chambers, low 60s, but has a sweeping curveball. The lefty-on-lefty matchups, something to watch out for today with all those lefties in the lineup for the Cardinal.
We get underway with ball 1 to Taryn Kern. She is such an intriguing hitter coming over after a phenomenal season at Indiana last year. This year's 2nd team All Pac-12. She takes ball 2. But such a disciplined eye as well. She, during the regular season, had 50 walks, the most in a single season in program history. Part of that is she swings at the first pitch only 2% of the time. You compare that to Emily Jones behind her, who average-wise was the best hitter on the team. Jones goes after the first pitch 40% of the time.
It's always interesting to me, you read those stats and you watch pitchers be a little careful with her as well. If I know those stats going in facing her, I'm going to just attack the first 2 pitches of the count and get ahead.
At least 0-1. And it's 3 balls, 1 strike to Kern, who's walked in 3 of her plate appearances this weekend, also been hit by a pitch. So the 0 for 4, if you were to just look at that, is certainly misleading because she's been able to get aboard. Even one of those walks was a bases loaded walk. scores yet another. Her 4th free pass of the weekend. Taryn Kern over to first to bring up Emily Jones.
Her batting average is under 300. Her on-base percentage, over 500. That's why she's in the leadoff spot.
Jones 0 for 5 at the plate over the first 2 games. First team all Pac-12 as the former infielder moved to the outfield, taking over for Taylor Gindelsberger. And Jones, a .250 hitter as a freshman here in her sophomore campaign, comes into the day at .355. The trend has certainly been Friday, Saturday, the early lead is a favorable one. The bunt attempt from Jones goes foul for strike 1.
Talking to Emily Jones this week about hitting behind Taryn Kern, says she likes to go early in the count. So watching her teammate take a lot of pitches gives you just some quick data, especially you're trying to get your timing down when you're on deck. She's always ready to go early in the count.
Chambers exhibited really good control this year, 10th in the nation in strikeout to walk ratio at about 6-1. Coming off of a redshirt season last year where she was able to benefit, being able to learn, not worry about being on the sidelines. Just soak it all in. The bunt is down, and it's a successful one. In the Bermuda Triangle area between the circle and first base. Daring Chambers to win a foot race to the ball and then up the line. Kern to second, and Jones bunts herself to first.
Well, it looks like we're going to have an out-of-the-box call here, and you could see Emily Jones, her left foot out of the box over the chalk. Home plate umpire all over it. Doesn't have 2 strikes on the count, so brings her back. Taryn Kern goes back to first base. And it's the crossover foot. It's the back foot, the left foot. It's got to stay in the box. And you can see Emily Jones really trying to get her bat angle around and bunt that outside pitch down the first base line. Cal State Fullerton shifted over to the left side. Kika Ramirez at first base staying back. So you see that as a left-handed hitter and as a slapper with speed. You want to pick on the pitcher and make her go run this ball down. Yeah, she's out there.
So it reset to a 1-2 count. Chambers missed low. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Jones. And she takes a called third strike.
Such a pretty pitch. It's the off-speed curve. It looks like a curve because it has the movement across the plate where it's starting from her left side going all the way to the other side of the plate. It just drops down through the zone.
Ava Gall has swung the most potent bat this weekend, 4 of 6, and she's driven in 3. Another player who changed positions had been, throughout the course of her younger days, a catcher, making the move over to first base this year, and was on the Pac-12 all-freshman team. Home run she hit yesterday. They were in the 205 marker out in right field. Kaneshiro was on deck. Hit her 11th earlier this weekend out to left center.
Pitch that Ava Gall hit was an inside pitch, so you can tell right now the left-handed pitcher in Chambers, 2 strikes, no sniffing of anything on the inside part of the plate.
Left field, Wallace dives and makes the catch. She takes away a base hit from Ava Gall. Add that to the Titans highlight reel this weekend.
She's already had a couple of those highlight plays in left field. Just keep them coming. This is what it's all about. Championship Sunday. You got to lay it all out. Oh, that's so nice. Well done.
her other phenomenal catch came just 2 batters into their first game. She went chasing a ball into foul territory and made a diving grab out there in left field. Well, you get to Sunday, and this is where every team has been able to watch, meticulously scout. And curious to see how they pitch to Ali Kaneshiro, whose one hit this weekend was a 2-run homer.
Backdoor curve from Chambers, 68 miles an hour, brings the heat.
Stanford hoping to advance to Supers, a top 8 national seed for the first time since 2009. And overall, their 21st trip to the NCAA tournament. Kaneshiro pokes that through the right side. Kern gets green-lit over to third and beats the throw there. Runners at the corners on a seeing eye single.
Not hit well off of the bat of Kaneshiro. She just kind of pokes at it, and Kika Ramirez at first base just didn't even offer at it. So you see your teammate in left field, Bailey Wallace, laying out for the catch. Kika Ramirez at first base needs to do the same thing. Keep that ball in front of you. That's a fieldable ball. Instead, it goes to the outfield. Taryn Kern at first base on her horse all the way to third, now 60 feet away from what could be the game's first run.
George Araujo in his 12th season on staff, along with Kelly Ford in her 12th year out there to lead that meeting of the minds in the circle. She helms their defense and gets them squared away here with Kira Chen due up 5th in the inning with runners at the corners and 2 down.
We were talking about the long balls from Kaneshiro and Ava Gall, but Stanford is a team that is very comfortable with the short game. Very good on the base paths. They will bunt and run, put people in motion.
Chan, the sophomore from San Diego, a wave and a miss. Chambers gets ahead 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Second strikeout of the inning for Chambers. Into trouble and right out of it as she strands Kern at third and Kaneshiro at first. It'll take us bottom 1.
Chambers gives up the 1 base hit to the righty, the only righty in the lineup. So 2 lefties, 2 Ks, working this curve away from Chan getting the K.
The Cal State Fullerton Titans, 1986 national champs in the postseason for the 32nd time. And their starting lineup is brought to you by Capital One. Megan Delgadillo, one of the best base stealers in the country, has ripped off 3 this weekend. Bailey Wallace behind her, 3 for 8 at the plate. Peyton Toto has knocked in 3 runs. Colby McClinton a grand slam yesterday. And Jesse Alcala has also gone deep this weekend. This is a lineup at 1 through 9 presents danger against Reagan Krause, who is looking for a bounce-back performance after 2 rocky innings against St. Mary's on Friday.
You look at the amount of innings that the senior has thrown. It's the most that she's thrown in her career. So backing up Nyjah Kennedy, not an easy task to do. Throws in the mid-60s. A little bit more different than Nyjah, where Nyjah is more up in the zone. Reagan Krause attacks the corners and keeps the ball low.
Today marks the 12th time ever that Stanford and Cal State Fullerton have squared off. The Card have won 10 of those 11, including a game last year. against the Titans on March 29th, which was an 8-0 run rule victory. And in that ball game, Reagan Kraus, 5 innings, no hit ball, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts against a little bit of a different looking lineup for the Titans. For one, it didn't have Megan Delgadillo at the top of that lineup. She was injured 3 weeks before, tore her right ACL going up against Baylor. So it's been 21 years since Cal State Fullerton has picked up a victory against Stanford. The last 4 matchups, which go back to 2009, so take that for what it's worth, have been a total of 42-2 in favor of Stanford.
You see the thumbs up there from Megan Delgadillo. That last foul ball was called for out of the box. Exact same thing we saw first half of the inning with Emily Jones, the other slap hitter for Stanford.
And there have been maybe 2 or 3 of those calls all weekend, so that's something to keep an eye on. Tom Meyer is the home plate umpire today. Brandon Bloom at first. Robert Pentikoff holds down second base as Todd Foy positioned behind third. 2-2 poke foul. The lineup last year for Fullerton against Reagan Kraus and Stanford. Among the starters in this game from last year, Anna Becerra, Jessie Alcala, Peyton Toto, and Bailey Wallace.
Reagan Kraus throws a lot on her arm side, so she's really working the outside part of the plate against the slap hitter and Megan Delgadillo. Haven't seen her challenge inside yet.
Three and 2 now to the speedster at the top of the lineup. Delgadillo this year, 43 of 45 in stolen base tries. Called for her own challenge after initially being thrown out last night and won that challenge. That was a big moment in that game because it was part of that 7-run 5th inning, and it kept the momentum on their side.
It was the play of the game. It shifted everything, turned this inning on its head. You're thinking we have 2 outs. Instead, Megan Delgadillo finds herself on base and chaos ensued, just like she's making it happen right now. This is what she does. She puts the ball in play and she makes you rush your throws, rush your plays. She's at first base. Is she gonna steal? Most likely. She's one of the best in the country to do it.
Well, you got to credit Caitlin Lim there, backing up the throw coming in from left field, because Delgadillo takes the turn. She got what she wanted. She got a throw toward her to give her the opportunity to try and take second base, and Lim backs it up, preventing her from going any further. And this really tests the communication here from the Stanford infield. As the infielders come in, Taryn Kern has to rotate over to first, and River Mailer would cover a throw at second if Delgadillo runs. On his foul.
Looks like a little button run situation. I like the idea of putting Delgadillo in motion, especially with Reagan Kraus, who you're probably going to see 90% of the ball down in the zone. She can go up, but she'll start you down.
Working in the postseason is not an unfamiliar ask for Reagan Kraus either. A couple years ago, before Nyjah Kennedy arrived on campus, she was part of a trio of really strong pitchers and got a start as they won that regional at Alabama. It was a game that Stanford lost 4-0, but the innings she pitched, 5 innings, going head-to-head against Montana Fouts, only gave up 3 hits.
Just had another out-of-the-box call against Bailey Wallace at the plate.
Swing and a miss, throw to second into center field. And Delgadillo was coming up out of her slide, and Kern tumbling over top of her, so not really an opportunity to try and take third, which she might have thought about, but Jones was encroaching on that ball, so she's into second with 1 out.
A 2-strike count because of that out-of-the-box call, so it's a great count to go on. Kaneshiro, good throw, a little low. Collision there at second base with Delgadillo sliding in.
You know, I didn't even think about it until the replay went off our screen. Which leg did she go in with?
Her right? The one that we saw yesterday?
Okay, because she did switch yesterday,
okay.
right? One stolen base, the one that we saw earlier on the replay, where Ella Wesolowski, the Mississippi State catcher, threw in. She went in with her left leg first.
Well, she did tear her pants yesterday. I was talking to her about it today. Tucks her right leg, slides in with her left.
You started the clothing discourse?
She was like, I double layered under my pants because this field is hard here. She's joking about it. So I'm prepared now.
You wouldn't want to have a pair of pants damaged beyond repair, that's for sure. Not when you're 6 hours from home. You got what you got in the suitcase.
Well, if you're Cal State Fullerton, you're thinking we're playing 2 games today, and that's what the jersey already looks like for Megan Delgadillo. What could it look like later? She's so fun to watch on the base paths.
It's the anticipation of not knowing what's going to happen. That's what makes it exciting. Maybe not for Stanford, but for any impartial viewer or Cal State Fullerton fan. And how many times do we even have that in life anymore? You don't even have to remember things. You can just look them up on your phone. There's very little that goes by that we just don't know anymore of what's going to happen. Well, we got the case here. Kika Ramirez, 3 for 6 on the weekend at the plate. And takes the 2-2, sends it deep into the hole. Mailer sets, throws, and gets her out at first. Delgadillo sneaks her way into third. River Mailer, tremendous footwork and arm to get the out.
It's a great defensive play from one of the best shortstops on the West Coast, River Mailer, just a sophomore. I think one day in her career, she will be the defensive player of whatever conference she'll be playing in. All the conference realignment, it won't be Pac-12, it'll be the ACC, but she's that good at shortstop. Played second base a season ago, now moves over. Makes a good play. And then, of course, you have to acknowledge the heads-up base running Megan Delgadillo, taking an easy 60 feet now, closer to scoring the game's first run.
Not that it terribly matters all that much with how quickly she moves. There'd be 2 out anyway, so she'd be off and running on any contact, but why not make your life a little bit easier for yourself and for your teammates? Fullerton, one of the rare teams that has their head coach not coaching third, not in the dugout when they're batting, but Kelly Ford coaches over at first base, and George Araujo, who has been with her entire tenure as the head coach of the Mexican women's national team, coaches over there at third. Ford likes to be able to strategize from over on the right side. Anna Becerra's already driven in 2, and she gets sent over to first base, getting clipped by the inside pitch. You know what I will be interested to see is that Kika Ramirez has done such a good job getting aboard, although she just grounded out to Mailer. But what they've done over their several games is take Ramirez out after she picks up an early hit and then bring her back in later to re-enter in a potential clutch hitting situation. There's something to watch as we go to the second. Batter now is the starting shortstop, Peyton Toto, who has typically moved over to first when Ramirez has come out early in the game.
Zone's been a little bit tight here in the first on both sides. Both pitchers trying to establish how much you can push the corners.
line and a foul ball, which Peyton Toto has unofficially the lead in that category this weekend. The public address announcer Friday, Saturday said, please return your foul balls to an usher here at the stadium. Today, the fans were told, you can keep a foul ball. Wow. I'm ready. Send someone back our way.
Well, if Peyton Toto's up at the plate, that might be a lot of foul balls.
Mailer charges. And her throw is perfect. Ava Gall fired up without number 3. Both pitchers strand 2 in the first. Scoreless at the end of 1 from Stanford. Cal State Fullerton head coach Kelly Ford, such an optimist. She waits in the circle, gives the overhand toss to Stacey Chambers, who's the starting pitcher today.
So you've got to play 2 games today, so strength coach would be proud, getting some work in while you're watching your teammates on the field. But just the metaphor of it all, holding each other accountable and picking you up. If you're down, I've got your back.
And it's a great reminder that goes beyond just a slogan that you might have on the wall of the dugout when someone is literally carrying that throughout the course of the game. It serves as a reminder. She said it goes back to the start of their series against Cal State Northridge during the regular season, and that the sports psychologists that they work with help them implement this as a tool to remember to always have each other's backs.
You'll see it in the interview when we talk to Coach Ford. It'll make an appearance, as well as maybe baby Gemma or some cup crowns. We've been having some very creative things in our interviews here at Stanford Regional, to say the least.
Well, we are in the Bay Area, home of innovation that spreads throughout the world. So
there you go.
Why not have some sartorial innovation today with the materials they've got in the dugout?
That is a work of art. I would not even know where to start to make that.
Strikeout tracker, 2 already for Chambers. And she's got 2 strikes here on Jade Berry, who's been very hard to get out this weekend.
Well, you can't have props anymore. We saw that, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, and so that got outlawed. But you can use what you have and be innovative like you're talking about. So you all have the cups that you're drinking water out of. Let's make some props.
You can't call them props, though. How about amusement implements? 3 and 2 to Berry, who's 3 for 5 with a couple of doubles.
Anything you can do, I can do better, I guess. That's the whole outfit.
Left center field, it's Delgadillo, who sees it drop down in front of her. Berry, big turn at first, but the center fielder rockets it back in. Leadoff single for Jade Berry, her 4th hit here in game number 3.
I was wondering if Coach Allister was going to bump her up in the lineup. She just seems locked in differently. The freshman, seeing a full count, Chambers gives her that off-speed curve, sees it so deep, so hard to do. You're always so anxious in a full count, and you see an off-speed pitch, hitting it where it is pitched. And I love the base running. She was on her horse thinking 2. That's exactly how you teach it. Think 2 until the defense proves you wrong. Then you can always hustle back to first base.
So 2 innings in and a leadoff base runner in each frame. Kern walked in the first. Berry with a single here. Bottom third of the order begins with Kaylin Koch. And she flies this to center. Delgadillo got a weird start on it, but her speed helps her recover. And how about her throw? Just a hair late behind Berry. But that was a throw from the warning track. 1 hop into first base, looking to turn 2.
That throw should not have been close at first base. That was an elite play from an elite center fielder in Megan Delgadillo. Had a bad jump on this, just trying to figure out, do I need to go in? Once it's skied in the air like this, you can see her in center field just hesitating a second, but drop steps, hustles straight back, tucks her glove, textbook, and then firing it over to first base. It's a good play.
Punt dropped by Jessie Alcala. Nearly a very quick second out. And you were quick to praise catchers who make those plays so quickly because it's so hard to orient yourself as to where the ball is going to end up.
Yeah, you have no time to mess around. You got to look straight up, find the ball. She had it. It was gloved. Needed that out.
0-1 to the shortstop, River Miller, who strokes the second pitch into center field for the second single of the inning.
You have to wonder how long the leash is going to be for Cal State Fullerton. That's 3 well-struck balls in a row off of Stacey Chambers. And this is a team that has a deep pitching staff, a talented pitching staff. You just can't hit the ball any better than this. It's over the heart of the plate. And it's a heartbreaker because you're thinking as a pitcher, I had her out with the pop-up. Catcher drops it, River Mailer gets another opportunity, and she doesn't waste it. Looks like we have Haley Rainey warming up in the bullpen. It's a deep staff, it's a talented staff. It's the Big West Pitcher of the Year.
And I believe Jessica Allister is going to use a pinch hitter here, Allie Clements, the junior who hit a career best 283 during the regular season, to try and capitalize on the opportunity with runners at first and second and 1 out.
Number 27, Allie Clements.
Clements has already pinch hit once this weekend. She came through in that opportunity. It beckons once again. You also get a right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher rather than the left-handed hitting Caitlin Lim, who's hitless in 2 games.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The lefty-lefty matchup. You would think Chambers would just try and throw outside to Lim, maybe get an easier force out on the left side of the field. Now you enter a right-handed hitter, changes everything.
Popped up, foul territory into the seats. And a nice snag by the gentleman in the second row.
There you go. Even with the bobble, stuck with it. And he gets to keep it, right? Although, wait, here comes an usher. Hold on.
Keep it, keep it, keep it.
Oh, he's giving it away. Round of applause.
Okay,
well done.
that's the move.
That's the move.
That's the move. You just made a kid's whole weekend.
I think the usher went down to tell him, you get to keep it. I thought he was going to take it for a second. I was going to say, wait a minute. The announcer said you can keep the balls. And you're on TV, so it's a win-win.
So scoreless game, top 2, and some new balls delivered to Tom Meyer, the home plate ump. Stanford needs just 1 win today. Cal State Fullerton would need to win twice against Stanford because the Cardinal in this double elimination format have not lost this weekend. Winners against St. Mary's and then against Mississippi State yesterday. Foul ball again. The teams that are on to supers already, the #1 overall national seed Texas Longhorns, 5th straight time to supers, and for Mike White, 14 straight between his multiple stops. Alabama, a winner earlier today. They're in supers for the 18th time, all under Patrick Murphy. Texas A&M moving on. Oklahoma State, LSU, which will come here. Stanford wins, and Oklahoma, their 14th straight for the round of 16. For the Sooners as well, #2 national seed, trying to become the first team to win 4 straight national titles. It's low, it gets away from Alcala. And runners now at second and third. Perry 60 feet away, Mailer behind her at second.
Chambers just missing low and away. The pitch is supposed to be inside, so you can see where Alcala was set up. The pitch is low away from her. She's trying to keep it in front, but when you're set up that far inside, that's a tough ask.
Wild pitch charged to Chambers. The 2-2 sends the count forward.
We've seen some terrific pinch hit at-bats in this regional. I think that just speaks to where we're at in the season, right? You come in, you have one job, and your job is to fight.
And the roles are still well established at this point. Payoff pitch, shallow right field. Verhoff makes the catch. Berry tags, throw to the plate, and she's in! Stanford on the board, 1-0 on an Allie Clements pinch hit sacrifice fly.
That's pretty much as textbook Stanford as it gets right there offensively. Get them on, get them over, use your speed, run the bases, and then get them in. I just love the pinch hit approach. That's not a strike, but what did I just say? You've got to go in there and fight, find a way. She gets it to the right side of the outfield. Jade Berry, enough speed, calling her own shot. I'm safe. First run of the ball game to Stanford.
River Mailer advances second to third, back to the top of the order for Taryn Kern. Play devil's advocate. If that throw is to the third base side, do you think there's potential that Berry is out?
Oh, it's a good question that you ask. You never know.
Finally did it in the 6th game. A good question. Kern walked her first time up. Not only is Kern patient with not swinging at first pitches of plate appearances, but she's in the 99th percentile at the Division I level, only swinging 8% of the time at pitches that are outside the strike zone.
Two strikes. Stacey Chambers, the lefty, you see and you feel how on the plate Taryn Kern is, and so she's moving, extending that plate with 2 strikes. Taryn Kern is going to swing. Let's make sure it's on the outside part of the plate.
When Kern steps that close to the plate, and I shouldn't say when, it's always that she's very close to the plate, how much does that alter the way her swing path has to work?
I think it alters it a lot. Your swing has to be a lot shorter. You're right on top of the plate, so if you have a long swing and there's pitches that are down the middle, it's going to be hard to get to them.
Mailer at third, 2-2, ground ball right side, diving stop McClinton from her knees, throws out Kern and helps save a run. But it's Stanford on the board first. Allie Clements called upon to pinch hit in the 9 spot. Sacrifice fly to right.
How about the defense? We've seen it a couple of times from Cal State Fullerton. This is a great play, saving a run. Colby McClinton, a big out.
Available for you right now on ESPN is our Red Zone edition of taking you all around the world of college softball. 7 innings live. Great work all weekend. Alyssa Lang, Chris Budden, Aaron Miller, Tori Vidalis, giving you all the action as the tickets are punched today around the college softball world. Alabama, helmed by Patrick Murphy, back to Supers. The 18th time, most by any head coach since that format started in 2005. Texas, #1 in the country, moving on. A&M, Oklahoma State. LSU will face Stanford if the Cardinal are victorious today, starting next weekend. And #2, Oklahoma, vying for a 4th straight national championship. Their 17th straight, or rather 17th overall trip to Super Regionals. Patty Gasso, all 17 of those. She and Patrick Murphy. Murph is 1, Patty Gasso 2 in terms of trips to Supers by a head coach. Ava Arce leading it off here, 6, 7, and 8 for Cal State Fullerton. line drive, shallow left field. RC has the second base hit.
I'm seeing some really scrappy at-bats on both sides. 2-strike singles. And it's not because the pitches are over the heart of the plate. It's just because the hitters know what's at stake. You got to do a little something extra. This pitch is up, this pitch is out, and she's able to just throw her hands at it. Ava Arce, she's had some great at-bats in this regional as well.
And a pitch run for her with Crystal and Romulo at first base. Titans have had no issue getting runners on base this weekend in their 3 games. Before that explosive 5th inning yesterday where they scored 7 runs on 6 hits and eventually eliminated Mississippi State, they had stranded 21 runners on base. That huge breakthrough, and it was really capped off by Colby McClinton, who hit a grand slam over the wall and left.
I think they released all of their frustration in 1 inning. We were talking to Coach Ford about this, and she was so happy for McClinton to have this moment, the grand slam, the exclamation point on it all. But no, you're exactly right. The runners left on base has been an issue. It's why they fell into the losers bracket of this regional, losing the first game against Mississippi State, 1-0. Had 6 hits, opportunities in every inning, just couldn't get a run across.
Left 8 on in that game. The bunt over to the right side, even with a little bit of off balance and a partial collision there from Gall. Her throw to Kern is good to retire McClinton. Romulo to second, representing the tying run.
Same situation that they had in the first inning with the runner in scoring position. They do it here with the sac bunt. They know who they have in the circle. They're very confident with whoever is going to be in the circle, whether it's Stacey Chambers or Haley Rainey or even Leanna Garcia, that they can hold down Stanford's offense. So if they can manufacture a couple of runs here, they're going to do it.
Off the hands, Alcala first pitch, and that's out number 2. We talked about it a little bit last night as you went down the depth chart and later into that game with Leanna Garcia coming in, the redshirt freshman left-hander. She worked the last inning with the 7-run cushion against Mississippi State. Whether we'd see her today, certainly the situation of the game will dictate that outcome, but it also wouldn't be surprising. Even though she's not 1A or 1B on that team, she's a really solid lefty.
I would go pitching change next inning for Cal State Fullerton. We'll see what they do, but I think if you have Haley Rainey on your staff, you also have another solid lefty in Leanna Garcia, who looked so good last night in relief. I think you give them a clean inning, especially Stanford turning their lineup over for the 2nd time. We'll see what they do, but I would make a change.
Well, it's the 9 spot that has belonged to pinch hitters in the early going. It was Allie Clements with the sacrifice fly, and here it's Candace Yingling as the pinch hitter in place of Kate Verhoff, who starts in right field, but is hitless 0 for 4 this weekend. High pop, Mailer and Berry converge, and it's the freshman Berry to put it away and end the inning. A leadoff single for Ava Arce. 3 runners stranded by Reagan Krause, the Card by 1. The number 8 national seed Stanford, 1 win away from advancing to Super Regionals for a 3rd consecutive season. They'd stay at home if they hang on and defeat Cal State Fullerton. Haley Rainey has pitched 12 innings this weekend, allowed just 1 run, and she takes over after 2 frames from Stacey Chambers.
I like the move. You go to the ace. Throws hard, mid-60s. We saw her hit 67, 68 a couple of times yesterday. Was amped up, but she keeps it low in the zone with a drop change combo. She throws hard, she throws low, and she pumps strikes.
Jones struck out looking against Chambers. Rainey in her 12 innings has given up 5 hits, walked 6, and also struck out 8. Big West Pitcher of the Year, moving from being their number 2 behind another Big West Pitcher of the Year, Micah Sutherland. And then to the number 1 role for the transfer from Idaho State, who played there during her freshman season. She gets the strikeout on Jones to begin the 3rd.
This is a pitcher that doesn't need strikeouts. She's very comfortable throwing ground balls, but hey, 3 pitches into this game, let's take a strikeout. Why not? Working the drop down in the zone. Emily Jones, the triple threat, swinging away. That ball way out of the zone. Tight spin. Nice result to start this outing for Haley Rainey.
She's from a small town, just about 4,000 people, 90 minutes south of Seattle. Graduating high school class for Rainey, 65 people, but big reach for her because she's got a TikTok channel where she gives pitching advice for younger players.
I love that.
I think that's really cool.
This younger generation has it so great with so much information just readily available to you, whether that's on YouTube or now TikTok, and it's from the current generation. That's, you know, the women in the arena. They're doing it right now. Love that.
Check swing, look to 3rd, that's strike 3. Call sent back to the first base dugout.
How efficient is she? Pumps, strikes, 7 pitches, 2 strikeouts. She has always been at the top of the pitching stat categories in the Big West the last 2 seasons. The difference is this season there's no Micah Sutherland, so the spotlight has been all on her. And I think she's been ready for it.
The junior pitcher, born on an Army base in Germany, and before getting to college, lived in 5 different states. That's life as a brat. Ali Kaneshiro has one of the 3 Stanford base hits.
Well, and how different does Haley Rainey look to the Stanford hitters than Stacey Chambers? So you have 2 aces on your staff, and they look completely different. So that's why you see the quick relief role for Haley Rainey. Stacey Chambers, the lefty, spinning it up. Haley Rainey, the righty. It's tough for offenses. 2 different looks.
And how about that top of the 3rd for Haley Rainey? She meets the moment here in Game 6 of the Stanford Regional.
She's been meeting the moment this entire season. The Big West Pitcher of the Year, 3 up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts. This is how you do it.
Stanford and Cal State Fullerton meeting for the first time this weekend, and the Cardinal a 1-0 lead courtesy of an Allie Clement sacrifice fly. Only 10 times in this current format of the softball postseason have teams that lost their first game then stormed back to go to Super Regionals. Last to do it was Mississippi State, eliminated yesterday by Cal State Fullerton, and the Titans did it in 2007. They went to Columbus, Ohio. They won Game 6. They won Game 7, both against the Buckeyes, and the star pitcher on that staff Assistant coach Jamie Juarez, now in her first season with Cal State Fullerton. 4 years a Buckeye, graduated in 2007 as the all-time Buckeyes leader in strikeouts and shutouts. And now her daughter Gemma has been one of the stars of the Fullerton team here with the program this year. Her husband on hand as well. And we talked before the game about that regional, and she said, I remember it like it was yesterday. I think that's one of the faults of the human brain, that the bad memories stick with you, maybe sometimes more than the good ones. And she said, you know what the difference was in that game? That they really did their homework. They were indefatigable. They never gave up. And Fullerton, a legendary program, a World Series champion back in 1986, and now in their 32nd NCAA tournament appearance. But certainly everybody would have picked Ohio State at that point, a team that was perfect at home on the year. But it just goes to show you that even if you're a national seed, you're the host team in the regional, it's why they play the game.
Now the hitting coach for Cal State Fullerton. Of course, baby Gemma, she's the star of the show. She was going viral yesterday. Cal State Fullerton, anytime they'll have a player interview, baby Gemma comes in. She's just 3 months old, traveling around with mom Jamie. Pretty special.
And so we're out in the hitting cages down the left field line, and her husband Josh traveling as well, because no contact softball grabbed when we had our interview with Kelly Ford yesterday. 2 players jumped out and said, we're sorry baby Gemma's with her dad, because she had been in one of the interviews earlier. I got a kick out of this because Jamie told me, she goes, going to Ohio State was the best decision I ever made. And her husband Josh goes, the best? He said, okay, the best at the time. Now in retrospect, the second best. But yeah, baby Gemma has been a star here in Stanford, even staying up late into the night last night and staying, most importantly, warm.
And I was wondering if they woke her up late at night to like get into that interview, because her eyes were like, where am I? What is going on? She's like too stunned to cry.
Delgadillo in yet another battle. She singled, stole second, and ended up at third, but got stranded there in the first. If that face doesn't say, where am I?
What time was this? It was like 10 o'clock almost, and she's awake, we think.
High chop, Mailer goes back, the throw on to first, not in time, as Delgadillo cruises through, and don't know that there's anybody else in either dugout who beats that out, save for Megan Delgadillo. Her nickname, Cheese, because she's always smiling, AKA cheesing, and she should be. She's 2 for 2.
It's taken her a little bit to warm up in this regional. A little bit of a slow start. When Cal State Fullerton first had their game against Mississippi State, she was who we teased in our open, and for good reason. But she's finding a groove right now.
Cal State Fullerton, the first to make a pitching change today. Nyjah Kennedy. See if we see her today. Already 23 strikeouts here in the regional. Best ERA in the country, most strikeouts in the country. Last year's Freshman of the Year, and a top 10 finalist for Player of the Year this season. Wallace right into Kanashiro's glove.
The Titans needed that bunt down. Had to have it. Nice play from Kanashiro, but you can just watch Wallace. She kind of pushes her hands at it. Instead of having soft hands, letting the ball kind of come to you. A little bit of a stab there. And the senior catcher, she's all over it.
This is Sarah Perez with her first plate appearance. And Kanashiro threw, even though Delgadillo wasn't running.
I thought she was going too. I kind of put my hand up a little bit, and she got me. So I'm with Allie. That was a big lead. It was an aggressive lead. Better be safe than sorry, right? Want to make sure Trying to get her out off the base paths.
And the throw from Kaneshiro on the first stolen base for Delgadillo was very close. Wave and a miss, and a disappearing offering there from Kraus.
Just the second K for the senior. Look at the drop ball. Tailing away from Perez, trying to put the bat on the ball. Well, after that strikeout, Coach Alistair fired into Ali Kaneshiro, get her out, and pointed to Megan Delgadillo because she is playing with Ali Kaneshiro behind the plate. I think she's trying to bait her for a delayed steal. The leads are big over at first base, and Coach Alistair's all over it.
Odds lower that she'll run with 2 out, but certainly not 0, because there she goes on a ball in the dirt, and the throw doesn't get her. Second stolen base, and it looks like Alistair might have a conversation here about whether she left early.
Yeah, she's making the case that Hannah Becerra had a delayed swing.
And she did have a delayed swing.
Yeah, she's got a good case. It's a judgment call. It's very similar to the obstruction rule, where it's just straight up judgment. Was she interfering with the play, or was she making an attempt to actually hit the ball?
That's a very heated conversation there from the Stanford head coach, who's been issued a warning by home plate umpire Tom Meyer.
You call it a protected steal, so it's a called play. Megan Delgadillo is on the run, and Hannah Becerra is not trying to hit the ball. She's protecting. She's just doing a fake swing. It's a little delayed, yes. But is it delayed enough to make it interference?
It looked like it did impact the ability for Kaneshiro to have a full follow-through on her throw. So it's a ball and a strike to the cleanup hitter. Cal State Fullerton looking to get on the board, trailing 1-0. Stanford's run, the sacrifice fly from Allie Clements, top 2, with the Cardinal, the road team, in game number 6 of the regional. Stanford wins, they're on to the next round. Fullerton wins, it's a winner-take-all game 7.
In my opinion, this is the at-bat for me to determine if Reagan Kraus stays longer in the game. If Hannah Becerra gets on, I am wasting no time bringing in Nyjah Kennedy.
3-2, it's off of Kraus, and to first base. Becerra safe as she evaded Gall trying to make the tag. Delgadillo over to third. Runners at the corners, yes, but more importantly, you hope Reagan Kraus is okay.
Goodness, that was so scary.
Nyjah Kennedy makes her way down from the bullpen, right field line. Story Nyberg, the pitching coach, comes out to counsel Kraus.
Looks like they're going to leave her in, but I would make the change right here. This is runners on the corners. This ball was scorched. This is the scariest moment. You hate to see this as a pitcher. So lucky that she's okay. It looks like it hits her left forearm. The reason I say I would bring in Nyjah here is you just had the Big West Pitcher of the Year strike out the side, and looks like she's on a roll. You have a 1-run lead. You want to advance this game and get to Super Regionals, not having to play another.
Peyton Toto, bouncer through the left side. The Titans tie the game with Delgadillo coming 60 feet to score.
And Cal State Fullerton knows exactly what I'm saying, right? They know who's in the other dugout. They see this opportunity offensively, the chatter. We have got to score right now. We've got to find a way to make it happen. And this isn't the prettiest hit. It's not hit as hard as what we saw from Hannah Becerra, the hitter prior, but it's good enough to get it done. And it looks like Stanford's going to continue to stick with Kraus. This is another opportunity for the Titans runner in scoring position at second base. How do you take advantage?
Ava Arce found the answer in the second. She led off with a single. She re-enters here after Kristen Romulo had pinch run for her in that spot. Goes after the first pitch, just late for strike one.
And you can feel the cuts and the approach from Cal State Fullerton. The at-bats are better. Second time through the lineup. Reagan Kraus only has 2 strikeouts. You can just kind of feel the contact even on the foul balls.
In game 1 against St. Mary's, Stanford goes up 7-0. Kennedy comes out after 2 innings, 22 pitches. Kraus comes in. Gales put up 6. Kennedy wins that game with 5 scoreless innings. Weird to look at a game where the winning pitcher goes 5 scoreless and your team gives up 6 runs. But that's the power of Kennedy in the circle. Kraus just trying to get out of trouble here with 2 out, 2 on. She's ahead 1-2 to Arce. Bounces it in the right-hand batter's box.
Remember, Ava Arce in her last at-bat against Reagan Kraus had a 0-2 single. So starts the at-bat 0-2, Reagan Kraus does, and then 2 balls just not contested into the other batter's box.
That's off to the right side. Kern onto the grass. She excels in just about everything she does. They put out on Arce. The Titans score. They strand 2 more. They've left 5 through 3 innings, but they are tied with the number 8 national seed. Their head coach, Kelly Ford, hops on the headset to chat with us when we come back. In 1 apiece at the end of 3. Kelly Ford, the head coach of the Titans, now with us. 3rd inning, you break through, you get a run on the board. What adjustments did you see from your hitters?
Gosh, you know what I love? They're just hunting good pitches. Their pitcher's doing a great job, but we really honed in on our zone.
Coach, did your team have any fun?
I don't know. I just get handed babies, and I mean, I can't help but snuggle right here with this one.
I love it, Coach. Just want to quickly ask about your staff. It's one of the best, but you do bring in the Big West Pitcher of the Year and Haley Rainey. What went into that change?
Yeah, you know what? They were barreling up a little bit on Stacy, and we gave them a couple second chances with our defense, and it was time. It was time to change momentum.
Well, we thank the Cup Brigade, Baby Gemma, and head coach Kelly Ford.
Thank you.
Now batting for Stanford.
Was one of those cups a radar gun? It said slow, like slow down. That was amazing. You're so.
Well, I think one appeared to be a microphone.
One was definitely a microphone.
Was that the bottom of the cups on Baby Gemma's head?
I think it was.
Because they're only working with cups as their material, right?
I can't even.
And prior to that, I thought the best performance with cups was in Pitch Perfect, but this beats that out.
Okay, yeah, it is a radar gun. Amazing.
Nothing happened in slow in this game.
And you have a headset on the corners of their own broadcast team down there. They are welcome to come up to the booth. I know they'd rather be in the dugout, but they look like they're ready to go. They've got the microphone, they've got the headset.
They just need to go down Sand Hill Road, find a VC firm to give them some money for an art museum.
Oh, and now it says gas. So we were slow, but Haley Rainey is gas. Got it.
She certainly was in her first inning, coming on in relief today. She struck out the side in the 3rd, and she gets Kira Chan. That's 4 batters faced by Rainey, all 4 retired.
Worth noting, Peyton Toto now at first base. That's the Big West Defensive Player of the Year. Remember, early in this game, there was a ball very similar, but Kika Ramirez, who's in the lineup for her bat, was not able to make that play. Peyton Toto is a game changer over there at first.
Toto can play first and short, and this weekend she's started the games at short, and then when Ramirez comes out, Sarah Perez goes to short. Perez hits third in the lineup, and we would not be surprised to later on in the game see a re-entry for Ramirez to hit in a big situation.
Just getting the best out of all your players, right? You know that Peyton Toto, who was the shortstop the last couple of seasons for Cal State Fullerton, moves over to first base. Coach Ford loves her over there because of her glove. And then you bring in Sarah Perez, who is the defensive stud at shortstop. And then, of course, Kika Ramirez with the big bat.
McClinton the charge, the toss. That's such a great luxury to have.
We can do that in our sport. We have the re-entry rule, something baseball really doesn't have, and you get the most out of all of your players. Everybody can have a role, and if you're coming in, make the best of your couple of innings, 4 or 5 innings, lock down shortstop, go do it. If Haley Rainey is going to get that called for a strike, I'm sticking right there. That is a tough ball to barrel up. Drop on outside part of the plate against the left-handed hitter in Cope.
McClinton, the catch, and that's 6 up. 6 down, Haley Rainey in the 3rd and the 4th. We'll talk to Jessica Allister when we come back here to Stanford, California. Game 6 of the Stanford Regional. One apiece, Cal State Fullerton, Stanford, as we go bottom 4, and the Titans coming to the plate. Jessica Allister, the head coach of Stanford, with us from the first base dugout. This is a team that you had not yet faced this season as you came into the regional final. What kind of information did you share with your hitters, scouting report-wise, with Stacey Chambers and Haley Rainey in the circle?
Yeah, they're good. You know, they've got 2 really, really, really good pitchers, and we were aware of that. So understanding that Chambers was going to have that really good curveball that she's going to throw a drop ball and change up off of, and then that Rainey's going to come in and throw a really dirty drop ball. So having the approach when we get in, trying to hit the pitch that we know we're going to get.
And Cal State Fullerton did tie the game, but Reagan Krause able to get out of the jam. We saw Nyjah warm up. Just take us into the game plan there with your 2 pitchers.
Yeah, you know, I think Reagan's given us a good start so far. Battling through some runners on base and putting some good swings. I mean, putting some good pitches in some big situations. So we're going to let her continue to fight out there and figure out the best way to, you know, find a way to win a game.
You got it.
Jessica, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
If Stanford wins this game, they are into Super Regionals as the field gets filled out, narrowed down. Georgia pulled off a big one today. They had to beat Liberty twice, and they did that. The Flames extinguished the Athens Regional. The number 11 national seed is in. Kenzie, would you like to announce the team that was in right before them?
Who is it? I'm curious.
I believe it's a West Coast team.
Got it. Arizona, perhaps?
The Arizona Wildcats, their 17th Super Regional appearance. Only the 3rd time doing it as an unseeded team as well. An historic program as well. 8-time national champ. 2nd most, only behind UCLA. Krause out of the circle and an underhand toss to get McClinton here to start the 4th. So 10 of the 16 spots have been filled. The most recent ones, Tennessee, they will welcome the Alabama Crimson Tide to Sherry Parker Lee Stadium next weekend. 13th Super Regional appearance for them. They outscored the opposition in their regional 21-0, which is pretty crazy to think that Virginia got out to a great start. They were eventually eliminated by the Lady Vols. And they had the Miami Redhawks, Kieran Kumar's team, which had the 2nd most home runs in a single season this year. And the offense did not carry quite as much as they would have hoped out there to Knoxville.
It just goes to show that anything can happen from any seed, any place, anywhere. You know, we do have a lot of mid-majors playing on Championship Sunday, and you know, it's surprising, right? You see the not seeded teams coming in, maybe beating the host, but if you watched our sport of softball this season, I don't think that surprises you. Just think of how many big midweek upsets we've seen this season alone, where you have that outer conference, non-conference matchup with whoever's maybe in driving distance, and the ranked team, a lot of the times this season was, you know, taken down by the mid-majors. So it's always a surprise, right? Because you don't see very often the host teams lose, but if you watched our season and watched our sport this year, not really a surprise.
Shallow right field, down the line, great effort from Kern, but it falls in. Jessie Alcala putting together a better at-bat here. She was retired on just one pitch, her first time up in the second, and that's a one-out single. And to your point as well, you know, one of the games that I was fortunate to be on the call for this year was a win by Campbell over Duke.
Yep.
And that was a big upset. And one of the reasons that Duke didn't get as good of a seed as they would have liked, still a host in the Durham Regional, trying to eliminate South Carolina and move on to Supers for one of the younger programs in the country. But I want to share a tweet, which maybe 50% of the time someone says that it's not something you want to hear. But Joanna Lane, who works for the NFCA, said earlier this morning, 10 of the 16 teams in the regional finals feature teams from non-Power 5 conferences. We've got one of those here with Cal State Fullerton. And she added 3 are either the ranked team or in the driver's seat. So get the labels off of these programs. They're supposed to be here. They're well coached, battle tested, and deserve more than a glass slipper narrative. And that's 100% the case for Cal State Fullerton. A team built with veterans, tremendous coaching staff that's been together for a long time, that shares responsibilities equally. And so when non-Power 5 teams win, it's only a surprise if you haven't been paying attention.
Georgia having to do it the hard way. The doubleheader.
Beerhoff, a trickler. Her first trip to the plate. She was pinch hit for back in the second. The Titans first and second to bring Delgadillo up for the third time.
Little swinging bunt here from Beerhoff in the 9-hole, the freshman, the only freshman in the lineup. This is a very veteran squad, to your point. Just providing a little spark in the 9-hole, bringing up the girl, Megan Delgadillo. She has a lot of options right here. She doesn't really ever swing away. She can drag bunt to get on base. She will power slap. She can chop slap.
A bunt here would put so much pressure on the defense.
I would drag bunt.
Because then your only play is to first. Worst case scenario, you've got second and third, 2 out. She sends it down the left field line. That's a fair ball. It's a green light for Alcala coming around third, and she scores without a throw. Titans 2, Cardinal 1.
I mean, I would drive it down the line. That's what I'm saying.
I heard you say that just 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, exactly how we drew it up.
And Delgadillo with the single matches her hit total from the previous 3 games, 3 for 3.
I told you she's in a groove. And she knows what she's gonna get. She's gonna get something on the outside part of the plate, and sometimes you overthink that. Not trying to do too much, sees it where it's pitched, and still comes up with the RBI single.
This could be a really big spot for Bailey Wallace. She struck out, and when she came up last inning, popped out on a bunt attempt to the catcher, Ali Kaneshiro.
8 hits already today for Cal State Fullerton. Stanford just has 3.
Good take from Wallace in what has not been an expansive strike zone. And she singles up the middle. Verhoff, green lit from Araujo. The throw to the plate. She is in. Back-to-back RBI singles. First Delgadillo and then Wallace. And for the latter, her first hit this Sunday afternoon makes it 3-1 Titans.
And they're spraying their hits all over the field. We don't have any big home runs or doubles off the walls. It's singles up the middle, singles in the 5-6 hole, singles in front of the right fielder. And you're going to see a lot of balls on the ground with Reagan Krause, who keeps the ball low in the zone. And so you have to credit the offense for Cal State Fullerton scouting her, knowing that that's where the pitch is going to be, and you're not trying to do too much.
And it was Jamie Juarez, the assistant on this Fullerton team. Her Buckeye squad in 2007 lost 2 on regional final Sunday against the Titans. She said the difference was their preparation, their level of homework, ready to go and beat a team that had not lost at home all year. Perez swings away, sends it Chan's way. She dives, but it bounced in front of her. 5 straight base hits for Cal State Fullerton, and they have loaded the bases. All to bring up the cleanup hitter, Hannah Becerra, who Reagan Krause hasn't gotten out yet.
Number 40, Hannah Becerra.
Pass the bat. This is a team that knows they have the arms to do it in the circle. We talked about it earlier, how many left on base they had the last couple of games. We saw them tear it up late into the night, and they have continued that momentum. Sometimes when you get to play that extra game, you find yourselves offensively in a rhythm that you can take advantage of, as long as you can move it into the next day, and they sure have.
Off the hands, it takes a weird bounce on Kern, and she barehands it. Delgadillo scores 4-1 Cal State Fullerton on the ground out from Becerra. Quick reflexes from Taryn Kern, because that ball took a hook off to her right, and she had to reach out with her palm to stop it.
5 hits in a row, so finally Stanford able to get an out here, and it wasn't easy. A run does score, though, for Cal State Fullerton. Delgadillo, the speed. The Titans will take it.
The Titans are 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Wallace is at third. Perez is at second. Peyton Toto, the 8th batter here in the home fourth.
You see the 0-1 count here before the pitch is even thrown to Toto, and it was a warning, or I guess a strike issued to Toto, taking too long to get into the box, over 10 seconds.
Got to be there midway point of the action clock. She goes low for that pitch, and playable for Chan. She makes the catch. The inning is over. But Cal State Fullerton, they have thrived on the big inning here in Stanford, California. 3 runs, 5 hits in the 4th. And they've got the lead going to the 5th.
You have to credit Megan Delgadillo, though. The leadoff in the top of the spot. She's 3 for 3. She had the RBI to start that inning and pass the bat. We saw what she was able to do last night against Mississippi State, and just the momentum that she brings by just her presence. I feel like the team always just has eyeballs on her, and if she's fired up, okay, so are we.
Haley Rainey in the circle for Cal State Fullerton begins her 3rd inning after 2 on the start for Stacy Chambers. She's faced 6 batters, struck out the first 3. and got 3 outs on the infield in the 4th. Fullerton's got to win 2 to advance to Supers for the first time since 2007. Stanford in need of just 1 victory to make it 3 straight years. Moving on to the next round as they look to repeat as visitors to Oklahoma City. River Mailer rolls it over, and a toss to Rainey, not in time. It didn't look like a play where a toss was going to be sufficient. It probably was going to have to be a solo effort, and River Mailer made sure of it, going head first.
Now this is tough for the first baseman. It's all happening too quickly. This is your ball. If it goes all the way to McClinton, River Mailer with her speed probably going to be safe, so you have to field it and then try and take care of it yourself.
That's the first base runner allowed by Rainey in this game. But her total for the weekend remains impressive as she's worked 14 innings, only the 6th hit she's surrendered.
Just after the play, I like that they're giving Haley a moment in the circle. She was making that diving effort as the pitcher herself at first base, so just need a little breath.
Home plate ump Tom Meyer comes out to break that up. Speaking of Stanford in the World Series, we'll see what 8 teams are there. The World Series begins May 30th, and for the 23rd straight year, every game is on ESPN. The championship finals begin Wednesday, June 5th. For more information, go to ncaa.com. I wonder about the efficacy of the head-first slide into first base. Doesn't the math say that it slows you down a little bit?
I don't love it. Unless you're trying to avoid a tag or something, it has to be very, very unique.
I'm team safety base for the record.
Same.
Over Toto's glove, right field, base hit. Bottom of the lineup comes through as Caitlin Lim, who got pinch hit for in the 2nd, delivers here in the 5th. And down 3, Stanford now has the tying run to the plate with Taryn Kern.
Stanford had to have this response in this inning. Following up Cal State Fullerton's 3 spot in the 4th, you turn it over. You know who you have in the dugout, Nyjah. We have not seen Nyjah Kennedy yet, but they've got to pick up their senior in the circle, Reagan Krause, and get back in this ball game. When you're in the driver's seat like this, especially as the host team, the last thing you want to do is have to play 2 games and take it to chance.
Rainey induces a lot of ground balls. She'd love to get one here with nobody out. Try and put a quick 2 in the out column.
It's a hittable pitch for Taryn Kern. She's very patient, I get it. But you have 2 runners on, and this is a hitter that hit 23 home runs a season ago.
She was 2nd in the country, only behind Kiki Malloy. Bouncer, 3rd base, Becerra. She gets the lead out. Mailer back to the dugout. First out recorded.
So then you get 2 strikes because you watched 2 pitches prior, and you have to swing at something out of the zone because you're in protect mode. And that's not what the team needed. The team needed you to hit that pitch prior.
Rainey, another ground ball. Play at 3rd. And Becerra comes up limping a little bit there on the slide in from Lim. Smart play from the pitcher of the year in the Big West, getting the lead out. Becerra walking that off. hopefully she's all right, because she is an integral part of this team, not only at third base, but their cleanup hitter.
Haley Rainey gets this, turns, and then realized how fast she had to get that ball over to third base. A little bit of a collision. Pizarro went for the tag. Maybe she's not knowing where she is on the base. It's a force out. So she just needs to get on the corner and then stretch towards her pitcher, not go anywhere near the base runner. She made that a little bit more difficult than it was.
Dangerous Ava Gall, yesterday her 10th home run of the year, second most on the team behind Kaneshiro. Still with 2 on, she represents the tying run in a 4-1 game. Tip is strike 2.
If Haley Rainey and Cal State Fullerton get out of this, I am pumped up going into the dugout. Stanford is not going to bring in Nyjah Kennedy unless they can answer offensively. There's no reason. Until you see your team get back in this game and tie it, it's going to be Reagan Krause the rest of the way.
That's foul at the plate. An 11th team is now into the Supers as Baylor has defeated the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana 4-3. The Bears, their 7th appearance in Super Regionals. Duke moving on as well. This is only their 6th full season. 3rd Super Regional appearance. They hosted in Durham, outscored the opposition 24-2.
Man, these results are coming in quick.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Rainey reduces the velocity, and that gives a great outcome. That's her 4th strikeout.
I said that Stanford needed to respond, but Haley Rainey said no. The Big West Pitcher of the Year gets the strikeout.
Cal State Fullerton forcing the issue, looking to force a winner-take-all Game 7, Day 1. Fullerton fell 1-0 against Mississippi State. Yesterday, won twice, eliminating St. Mary's, eliminating Mississippi State. Stanford faced a challenge from St. Mary's Game 1, 8-6. Won a close one in Game 2 against Mississippi State yesterday to come here to the regional final. But they find themselves down 4-1. Cal State Fullerton, home team here in Game 6. If we play a Game 7, then the Cardinal would be the home team, and that's the case right now in a winner-take-all Game 7 in Columbia, Missouri. The number 7 national seed Missouri Tigers coming to the plate bottom 7 as Omaha and Missouri are scoreless. They've already had 1 walk-off win today. Sydney Chamblee and Georgia needed to win twice against the Flames of Liberty, and Chamblee delivers a walk-off base hit to win it for the Bulldogs. Ava Arce leading it off. Taryn Kern sails the throw, and it's into the dugout. Dead ball, 2 bases on the play.
The way that Fullerton is swinging the bat, they don't need extra chances like this, but you're going to take it. Runner in scoring position, Taryn Kern, she's usually so short-handed at second base. She makes this play 10 times out of 10 times. Sometimes you have too much time. He just didn't have a good grip on the ball, but way over the head of Ava Gall at first base.
And unfortunately for Kern, it's not much room to get it into the dugout. There's that opening. And that's where she landed it to put Arce into scoring position. Quick conversation over on the first base side between head coach Kelly Ford, associate head coach George Araujo, because when RC reached base back in the second, they used Crystal and Romulo as a pinch runner for her, so I imagine that was part of the discussion, is do we want to make that move here? They elect to hold status quo, and Colby McClinton is the batter. She bunts, Kraus fields, Kern covers. Sacrifice successful to put another run 60 feet away.
Number 13, Stephanie Alcala.
Cal State Fullerton, they've been very aggressive early in the counts. And we were just talking about on the flip side for Stanford, seeing a lot of pitches. Credit Haley Rainey, she's been able to pump strikes, but you can tell Fullerton going up to the plate, wanting to hit.
And that'll be enough to get a run home. Deep out to left. Chan the catch in front of the warning track, a tag, a score. RC makes it 5-1.
Just textbook softball, taking advantage of the error by the second baseman in Kern. You bunt her over. Alcala, the senior, delivers. And another insurance run for the Big West Pitcher of the Year in the circle, Haley Rainey.
Kenzie, you were saying how much you loved your time in college the other day. I want to make you a graduate student and defend the following thesis.
Oh, goodness.
Cal State Fullerton has been the best team in the regional.
Agreed.
Team.
Yeah, agreed. Think about going into this game, they had only given up 2 runs. And I think if you put that stat down with no name tied to it and say, which pitching staff is this? Everyone would say, oh, it's probably Stanford. Yeah.
I think they'd say it's definitely Stanford.
It's not. It's Cal State Fullerton. So, of course, the 1 run today makes it 3 runs in the regional, but the way now that they're offensively rolling, they were slow out of the gate. And sometimes, you know, you just are. It's nerves. It's mayhem. You have the pressure on. You're just gripping your bat a little bit too tight, and they needed a couple of games to get going. They needed that big inning last night. I touched on this earlier. The more at-bats you get, the more cozy, the more comfortable, the more loose you are.
And they got the shade screens going too. They have been the best team. Nyjah Kennedy has been the best player.
Correct.
23 strikeouts across 2 appearances. I'd also vote that the Stanford Regional has had the biggest swings from hot to cold. 2-2 on Verhoff, and it's 3-2. A little bit to hear like the McDonald's DLT. Jason Alexander was in a commercial where he sang, I think like late 80s, early 90s. And they would put the lettuce and tomato on one side of the container and the burger on the other side. Keeps the cool side cool and the hot side hot.
There you go.
Fullerton has been the hot side so far as they add another and lead at 5-1. Season of AUX softball starts June 10th in Wichita, Kansas. Wonder how the wind will impact the ball there. One of the windiest places you could travel. ESPN Family of Networks has all 18 games for you for AUX. 1 hop and a snare, a laser to first. Sarah Perez, impressive at shortstop.
Well, we just saw on the flip side what happens when you don't make the defensive plays. How about what happens when you do? That was awesome. This is why she's in the game. She comes in for her shortstop play. The short hop, fires it over to first. That ball was hit hard.
And with the way this game is going, they may not have to take her out and pinch hit for her later on. Stanford, 1 run on 5 hits, 1 error. That was a Taryn Kern throwing error as the Cardinal took a 1-0 lead in the second inning. That's over Perez's head into the gap left center field. Delgadillo on the backhand, her throw to second base. Just a hair late. It's a one-out double for Kira Chan.
I think Stanford heard me talking about being aggressive early in the count because the two batters in this inning, Kaneshiro, now Chan, aggressive early in the count, and it pays off. You've got to go up to the plate looking to hit. And even a pitch that's a little bit low, a little bit out of the zone, so what? Go get it. These are good enough hitters to hit balls just a little bit off. You don't always have to be so picky and wait for your pitch. Go get your pitch. You've seen Haley Rainey now, second time through the lineup, be on time. Go get your pitch.
This is one of 4 games in action as the Super Regional field starts to get set. Omaha and Missouri, a winner-take-all Game 7 in Columbia, 0-0. Top of the 8th inning. UCLA with a 5-0 lead over Grand Canyon, and the Bruins in the driver's seat. And credit to everyone in Tallahassee, Florida, yesterday, and I can't just say yesterday, also today, because they finished 3 o'clock Eastern time. Everything got pushed back because their first game yesterday, which is the longest day of regionals with 3, did not start until 5 p.m. Eastern time, and Auburn and UCF went deep into the night. It was an amazing pitching battle. Maddie Penta over 200 pitches. Sarah Willis in the circle for UCF. Right now a 2-0 lead for Auburn over Florida State, top 3. I know you and I both got off the air here last night, went to our hotel rooms. You're juiced up after you get off the air. You can't just go right to bed. Watch it all the way to the very end.
Except for us, it was 11:30. Not quite for Mark and Carol.
That's hit right to Bailey Wallace, and Haley Rainey does the job again. She's faced no more than 5 batters in an inning, and the Cardinal have 3 outs to work with, trailing by 4. You're watching the NCAA Women's Softball Regionals presented by Capital One. We are closing in on a very distinct possibility of a winner-take Game 7 here at the Stanford Regional. Reagan Krause, Nigeri Kennedy, one has pitched today, one has not. The nation's best, the one who has not pitched, Reagan Krause, 5 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. And she turns it over to Alyssa Houston, the freshman Arkansas native. Houston this year pitched in 19 games, only a total of 44 innings. And so she'll square off against the top of the lineup here. She comes into the game. I think it's fair to ask why Nigeri Kennedy didn't start this game and why she never came in.
I think the latter part of your question is where I'm at. Why didn't she come in? I understand starting the senior, Reagan Krause, because she's a huge part of why Stanford is a top 8 seed, right? It hasn't just been Nigeri all season. It's been a 1-2 punch. Reagan has thrown the most innings she's pitched in her entire career this season, and she had a rough outing against St. Mary's. So you give your senior the ball and say, hey, we're going to need you to get on the right side of things. Let's see what kind of outing you can rebound with. But I'm going one time through the lineup, and then I'm turning it over. And it was in the 3rd inning when Megan Delgadillo was right in the middle of the action. She came around to score in that inning, but before she came around to score, Cal State Fullerton gets a couple on. I'm thinking, bring her in right now. You have the 1-run lead at that point. With her in the circle, that is all you need. And they left Reagan Krause in there. And she did go warm up. Stanford did have some opportunities offensively. Looked like maybe they were going to get back in this game, but credit Cal State Fullerton, credit Haley Rainey. Coach Ford was kind of doing the exact same thing. Their ace was in the bullpen. They started their number 2, Stacey Chambers, thinking it might be a good lefty-lefty matchup, but as soon as there's one sign of trouble, you bring in the horse, and Cal State Fullerton has benefited because they did just that.
Delgadillo takes the walk. And the counterfactual for Stanford here is if you bring in your ace, who struck out 23 batters over the course of 12 innings this weekend, it could have looked like what it did with Haley Rainey. Over 4 innings, she's only allowed 3 base hits, struck out 4, and no Stanford runner has gone past second base. So Cal State Fullerton here is 3 Stanford outs away from forcing a winner-take-all Game 7 and doing what their 2007 team did. Coming into this postseason, only 10 teams had done it in the current postseason format, losing Game 1 and fighting their way back to win a regional. So Kraus 5 innings today, 10 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. Her line for the weekend, 7 innings, 16 hits, 11 runs allowed, 10 of them earned. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And in the 7th, the Cardinal will have 8, 9, and 1 in their lineup with at least a 4-run deficit.
And you can just kind of feel the energy, right? I'm looking out on the field. There's not a lot of talking going on. It's very quiet. Everyone's just kind of on their heels. It's not a good feeling to be in this position as the home team, as the top seed in your regional.
It's popped behind the plate. Takes a hop off the wire. That is a quiet dugout.
You're already thinking about the next game, which is not the mentality you want to have. You want to be locked in the present moment, but you feel the score. You feel the lack of energy. You're already looking to Game 2, and that's when the stress starts to happen, and then it fuels the team in the other dugout. They're feeling the exact same thing. They're looking out saying, we've got the dancing cups. They are quiet. We are loud. We're going to keep hitting and continue this momentum into Game 2.
Without discounting the possibility of a Stanford comeback, we're down at least 4, 3 outs to work with, top 7. Both head coaches, who are you starting pitching-wise?
I'm going ace v ace. You put your best foot forward. It's winner take all.
Grounder, circle. That's one. The turn pulls Gall off the bag. So Wallace aboard on the fielder's choice as Delgadillo is retired at second base. So ace versus ace, and empty your tank.
Yep. You go as far as you can go. There's nothing to hold back. That's why you condition in the fall. It's what you're thinking about come January. Are you in shape? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to be durable for 5 straight months and be in peak physical condition come May? It's going to be needed, especially those pitchers.
Perez was the 5th of 5 straight hits in the 3-run 4th. A bloop single out toward left field. She hits it that way again, and Chan dives, can't get it. It rolls past her all the way into the corner. Wallace waved around third. Perez gets a stop sign. 6-1. Sarah Perez so fast, thought she might try and take them all. We saw Skylar Wallace do that from Florida earlier this weekend, and the attack continues in the bottom of the 6th.
It's difficult to continue the attack like you're talking about when you see a pitching change. You can feel the game kind of settle down a little bit, but Fullerton has pedaled to the metal. And it's hitters that are not always in their starting lineup. Sarah Perez, she's in this lineup for her defense, not her offense. That just tells you what's rolling right for Cal State Fullerton. Everything is going their way in this game, but it's because they've earned it.
As the start of their weekend, they were so close to being in the winner's bracket. That 1-0 game. A 1-0 loss against Mississippi State to open their stay here in Northern California. Rainey only gave up 2 hits in that game, 1 run. They stranded 8 today. Still, they left 7 on base, where the run column favors them by 5. Elsewhere, 1 extra inning in the books. Omaha and Missouri still 0-0. Florida State was down 2-0 against Auburn. The Noles, the big inning, now up 3-2, heading to the 4th in Tallahassee. Ball 4 for Becerra. Second walk from Houston. She's going into second. Kenzie, you said it, communication was lacking.
And if you're the team that's playing against that lack of communication, you take advantage of it. You see it. This is such a veteran team. Cal State Fullerton has 6 seniors in the lineup. It's a simple walk. Hannah Becerra, she's the queen of the walks for Cal State Fullerton. And Coach Ford, this is when it pays off to have your head boss at first base. Go. Take it. Not even drawing a throw.
Dayton Toto, 1 out, 2nd and 3rd. Kelly Ford, when we talked with her earlier in the weekend about why she as a head coach coaches first, because I can't recall ever seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
And part of it was, well, I don't like getting foul balls hitting me at third base.
Fair,
right? But she said she's still able to be active in the game that way. And as a life philosophy, I'm always on board with somebody who says, I'm not just going to do things because that's the way it's always been done. I think that's the worst reason to do anything. Switch it up if it works for you. And the Titans, 3 outs away from being 1 win away from their first trip to Super Regionals since 2007.
And it's a team that's been knocking on the door for 3 straight years in this exact position. Peyton Toto, one of those seniors I was just mentioning, so they have been here.
Chan drifts. She makes the catch. Perez tags. The throw is cut off. 7-1, Cal State Fullerton. Hits in this ball game. Ava Arce has 1 of them. Reached on an error last inning from Taryn Kern. That was a 2-base error and later came in to score on the Jesse Alcala sacrifice fly, which at the time was their 5th run. Stanford had a 1-0 lead after 2.5. Cal State Fullerton 1 in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. 2 more here in the 6th. They have scored in 4 straight innings. If you were one of the seniors on Stanford, if we have a game 7, what would you say to your team between games?
You definitely need a moment to regroup. You have to turn the page and say, new game. Probably be 30 minutes, right, between games. So that's a quick turnaround to say, hey guys, our season's on the line. What are we going to do about it? Do we like how we played and how we showed up in that first game? No. Okay. What was something that we need to do? What is something we need to do different? And just start there, and then just flush it.
RC lifts it, high right field, at the wall, Cook can't get it. It's off the fence, RC's into second, Becerra's across the plate, and it's 8-1.
If that ball goes over the fence, the game is over. Just a foot shy of a home run. What a swing there from RC. Thought it had a chance. Just off the top of the wall. Caitlin Lim trying to run it down. RC in for a stand-up double. And if you can end this game here, you do. It saves an extra inning for your ace in the circle, who will 100% be getting the ball in game 2.
That would go a really long way, because Rainey has pitched 4 innings in this game, total of 16 on the weekend. And a pitch runner at second, Savannah Favre, representing the winning run if Colby McClinton can come through with a base hit. The big inning has been so important for the Titans. 7-in-1 frame yesterday. This is the second inning in 6 frames where they put 3 runs up against Stanford. The other 3-run inning, 8 batters came to the plate. McClinton is the 7th in the 6th. Jones has a beat on it to the warning track. Into her glove for out number 3. 3 more runs, it's a 7-run difference, and the Titans are 3 outs away from facing a winner-take-all Game 7. Our field began with 64 teams this weekend. 12 teams have advanced to Super Regionals next weekend, and 4 more teams to be decided. Cal State Fullerton up 8-1 here, and this is what the field looks like so far. Alabama moving on, the #1 seed Texas, Oklahoma, a 3 straight time national champion, Duke onto Supers. That program in its 7th season vies for its first trip to the Women's College World Series. Stanford was there last year, 2 wins, 2 losses, both against Oklahoma, wins against Washington and Alabama. And on the move to left field, that's down, foul ball off the bat of Mailer in front of Wallace. Kenzie, what was the turning point, you think, in this game?
The 3rd inning, when Stanford did not bring in Nyjah, and so you feel that for Cal State Fullerton, and it's almost like they kind of rubbed their hands together and were like, all right, this game's ours. Go get it right now. And they did. And the next 3 innings, you look up at the scoreboard, how many runs they scored. It was just inning after inning, offense after offense, passing the bat 1 through 9.
Mailer is the first out here in the 7th. Stanford, despite being at their home facility, is the road team in this game, so that's why they're batting in the top of the inning. That flip-flops back and forth, but as the host, Game 7, they'll have the last opportunity at the plate.
There is so much momentum in this doubleheader situation. you see it anywhere in the regional where if a team is coming back and they can grab a hold of that momentum and feel good about it, it changes everything.
Becerra gets out number 2.
It's why we saw last couple of seasons the rules change for the super regional, where instead of having the doubleheader on maybe the Saturday or the Sunday, you space it out now. If it's going to the 3rd game, it's a whole new game because momentum is real. And so they want to make, you know, that a little bit more fair, have it be a full reset like it should be. I think that's the right call. But here in regionals, that doubleheader, man, you grab that momentum, who knows what can happen.
The Friday, Saturday, Sunday setup for next week, you want the competitors to be at their best, well-rested, full night of sleep, hydrated, fed. And today is different. It's a different animal. And Fullerton has been the better team in this game. Taryn Kern 0 for 2 with a walk. Still looking for her first hit this weekend. Stacey Chambers started in the circle for Fullerton, 2 innings, allowed just the 1 run. Rainey trying to close it out with 5. Too far inside on Kern, who, because of how close she stands to the plate, has a magnetic pull for that ball. Led the team being hit by pitches during the regular season. That's number 2 in her 3rd game this weekend.
Number 17, Cameron Carmouche.
Cameron Carmouche pinch hitting for Emily Jones, who had gone 0 for 8 in the number 2 spot behind Kern. Carmouche regular season, 3 for 13 at the plate. And Kylie Buckley pinch running for Kern at first. You, Kenzie, with 1 out left in this game, I have a nervous anticipation for what's going to happen in about 45 minutes.
Lineups?
The whole game. But yeah, that's a good start. So many possibilities of the way things could go. Expect to see Nyjah Kennedy. Expect to see Haley Rainey. Will we see 9 collective runs again? Who is to say?
Just been so impressed with Haley Rainey. I was impressed with her yesterday. I continue to be even more impressed today.
It's a base hit into right field. Verhoff tried to swat at it. It gets by her to the wall. And Buckley stops at 3rd. Carmouche at 2nd. The crowd was not particularly pleased with a stop sign at 3rd base, but Jessica Allister realizes her team needs to make up a lot here. Down by 7. Gave herself the best chance, and that's with Ava Gall at the plate and runners in scoring position. Looked like Emily Jones was about to re-enter to run at 2nd base, and she heads back to the shade of the 1st base dugout. Final out, hardest one to get sometimes.
And just think about the last inning. Cal State Fullerton was 1 run away from ending the game. They could have gotten that last run across. Just these kind of innings, yes, it's just one inning, but it's what kind of inning is it for the pitcher, and it's an inning of stress. And to me, that's always where it multiplies. When you're pitching the innings where it's 3 up, 3 down, bases clear, okay, that's one thing. And then you have the other category of an inning of stress. And she's going to have a couple of more stressful innings left in her for game number 2 if Cal State Fullerton wants to go where they want to go.
New life rule: reduce your innings, your stress innings.
It's totally its own category.
That's the intangibles there.
It's like a quality at bat, right? It has a little asterisk next to it. Well, you look at an inning, is it a stressful inning or was it a non-stressful inning?
And her first 2 were not. She faced 6 batters in those first 2 innings. Struck out the side in the 3rd, 1, 2, 3 in the 4th. Stanford brought 5 to the plate, stranded 2 in the 5th, stranded another in the 6th. There's a Kira Chan 1-out double. And now they threaten here with 2 on. Bouncer left side, Perez on to first, and the scoop by Toto. Ball game over, and we will have a winner-take-all game 7 to decide who moves on to Super Regionals.
What a performance from the Titans. What a performance in relief. Haley Rainey, the Big West Pitcher of the Year, showing us what she's got. And of course, it ends at first base. The scoop at first by Peyton Toto, the Big West Defensive Player of the Year. The defense started it off. Offense followed it, and then Haley Rainey finished it.
The leadoff hitter for Cal State Fullerton, Megan Delgadillo, like you said, slow start, 3 for 12 coming into this game. Mayhem is in full effect here in Stanford, California. After losing in their first game, Cal State Fullerton has continued to fly the W flag. A 1-0 defeat against Mississippi State. 6-1 over St. Mary's. Yesterday, 7-0 over Cal State Fullerton. And today, 8-1 over Stanford. But the job is not done. Stanford only needed to win 1. Cal State Fullerton needed to win 2. They take both. Or rather, they will try and take both. First pitch of our next game will be 5:10 Pacific, 8:10 Eastern to decide who goes on to Supers, and you can see it all on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. For our crew, my partner Kenzie Fowler, I'm Mike Cousins saying we'll see you in about 40 minutes back here in Stanford, CA.